Howdy, folks. I'm a xylode xenomaniac xenobiologist, xylographing xanthem.
I'm Amber, and I have no idea what half that means.
And here's some more stuff that we have no idea what it means. What does any of it mean?
Our first story does raise a lot of questions.
Our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Exploding at My Wife and Daughter for Sneaking Out to Repair My Laptop after I told them not to? I'm a 54-year-old male, and I'm a writer, meaning all of my laptops, tablets, phones are filled with unpublished, not yet copyrighted sources that I do not want seen by people outside of my family. Other family members of mine have had tragic experiences with their creations being stolen by quite notable people. And so I readily admit that I'm paranoid about people having access to my work before it's copyrighted and published. With that, I don't like taking my computer to repair shops for this exact reason. And if I have to, I move my stories from my laptop to some other device and load them back on after it's been fixed. Recently, my daughter, a 16-year-old female, needed to borrow one of my smaller laptops for school. It's an older laptop, but it was working fine until she had it, and somehow it died on her, with all of my stories on there too. I learned this all later because my wife, a 52-year-old female, and my daughter decided not to tell me about the damage. They later said that they were afraid that I would get mad and secretly brought it to a repair shop and had it fixed. But my wife felt bad about sneaking and hiding, so when my daughter brought my laptop back to me, they told me what had happened and what they did. And I'll admit that I got very, very upset. And in my anger, I called my daughter a bee. And my wife rightfully flipped out at me. I later apologized. But I'm still reeling at what they did. All the sneaking and lying and how my stories were exposed. I regret calling my daughter what I did, but after our blow up, I've been the only person who's apologized, and no one has taken accountability for what they did to me, as if I have no right to be upset. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, OP, I think you're in the wrong here. To clarify some things, if you live in the US, your work is copyrighted the moment you put it on the page.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about people stealing your work as much, but if you are really concerned, if you use a program like Google Docs that has like time-stamped edits, then that will log your changes, and it's very easy to prove that your work is your work.
Yeah.
Or you can do the old-fashioned thing and just print out paper documents of your drafts. Like, there's all kinds of ways you can prove it's your work if you're that worried. But most people are not out to steal your work, and the odds of a computer repair person stealing your work and claiming it as their own are very slim.
Yeah, I think I have a couple issues with this whole scenario. One, he loaned out the laptop to his daughter without taking the documents off of it the first time.
I mean, I guess it's good he trusts his daughter. You'd think he would be worried about having it in someone else's hands.
Like, if she's bringing this laptop to school, it's even more exposed there. So I think that you should have moved the stories off of the laptop before giving it to your daughter. But then on top of that, again, this behavior seems a little far for stories, right? Like, it's not like they went and published a story behind your back of one of your stories. And I know you say, well, you've had relatives who have had their work stolen.
It's like, as long as you have a paper trail. I know authors who will just email their stories to themselves over like every single day, their draft, and that way they have a documentation. Like, it's very easy these days to document that it's yours. So
Yeah.
You don't have to worry.
And a court's going to look at that paper trail and say, oh, this is clearly this individual's. As for blowing up at your daughter, you really shouldn't have called her names. That shows a really poor character.
And I mean, if you do have a lot of anxiety around this, it might be worth talking to a counselor. If you're getting to the point where you're terrified of letting anyone see your machine and you're blowing up with rage with people do anything because your machine wasn't working. They brought it to someone to fix it. It sounds like they paid for the repair themselves and everything. So I just don't see really, like, I understand that you're protective of your property, but she needed to use the laptop for school and didn't want to give you back a broken laptop. It doesn't seem that out of question to do a quick repair.
Yeah. So let me know what you folks think. Was this a violation of OP's privacy, or is there something darker going on here? Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Champy Fuel says, hello, writer here, and guess what? You're the jerk. They didn't tell you because they feared your reaction, and rightly, since you called your daughter a bee. Now it's time to live with your time. Ever heard of the cloud? It's better than scattering your text everywhere, because what if you can't turn on your computers and you have to factory reset it? Poof, everything's gone. What a waste of time. But anyways, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean it gives you the right to treat your family. I mean, it's your daughters, for goodness sake, like that. Grow up. Edit one, post it in another comment. When you lend your laptop to someone, you clean it first, especially when you know that there's files or stories that you don't want others to see. That was stupid of you not to do it, and hypocritical to put the blame on your daughter. I'm proud self-publishing author. Years ago, I submitted a manuscript to a Big Six, now the Big Five publishers. 99% of the stuff ends up in the slush pile, read by unpaid interns. I also detest how the majority of your rights/revenues are essentially stolen by publishers. So I self-publish. I'm retired from my long ago day job because of an injury. My wife is the breadwinner, and I happily play the role of the stay-at-home parent who writes on the side. Totally dedicated to this career in hopes that I can provide for my family as well.
Well, then one thing that baffled me about this post too is, like, I'm a writer. Anytime one of my devices like stops working even temporarily or has a malfunction, my biggest concern is the work being deleted, not stolen. So I'm a little weirded out too that he's more concerned about the device going to a repair shop than the fact that it broke down.
Yeah. And OP replies, I've backed up all of my stuff on external hard drives too, but that's not the point. And Baked Janet says, bro thinks his writing is a lost text from the Library of Alexandria.
Well, and actually, like, I watch some like writing advice YouTubers, and that is apparently a very common thing that people, and when I was a young writer too, I was worried about this. So I have like these stacks of papers of like my old drafts on print to have a hard copy. But that is apparently a very common concern, is that people will steal your work in progress. And for most people, that's not really a concern.
Yeah. All right, folks, our next letter is titled, My boyfriend, a 21-year-old male, asked for half of my income that I, a 20-year-old female, get from doing tattoos. We've been together for a year now. As of right now, I'm an independent tattoo artist, and I travel to my clients to provide them with my tattoo services. I work 2 jobs, and on my free time, I get 1 day off a week. I spend it doing tattoos for people. I used to go alone to do my tattoos, but my boyfriend started asking to come along with me because I often tattoo men and he doesn't like me being alone with them. Or I ask him to tag along because I enjoy him seeing my progression as an artist. I usually do bigger pieces that will last anywhere between 4 to 8 hours. Therefore, recently, he's been asking to get a portion, usually 50% of the profit that I make from doing tattooing. I was wondering if that's fair of him to ask for the money for the work that I do. On one hand, I understand, and I'm very grateful that he takes time out of his day to sit for hours to watch over me and protect me. I also understand that he's in school and doesn't have a job that provides him with a constant income. On the other hand, it frustrates me that he'd even ask for the hard money that I earn from tattoo. Opinions. All right, folks, what do you think of this one?
OP, I think don't give him the money. He offered to be a bodyguard for you. It doesn't seem like you wanted or needed the service. And so if you wanted to give him a nominal hourly rate for his bodyguard services, I don't think you should be giving him half your money because for him sitting there and watching over you like while you tattoo.
OP, if your boyfriend is doing a service that you want and appreciate and you want him to continue doing it, then I think that it's not unfair for you to offer him some amount of wage, right? Whether it's 50% or not, I think is a bit much because he's not doing 50% of the work.
Yeah.
He's providing you with a service that you can either live or live without, right? And he's the one who offered to come along in the first place. So if he's not happy with this arrangement, then he can go find some other job to do in the 8 hours that you're doing the tattoos. I certainly don't think that you're wrong for not wanting to pay him.
Yeah.
But if this is something that you like, appreciate, and want him to continue doing, then maybe considering working out a payment plan is not necessarily a bad thing. Like if you're afraid of some of these clients, then that might be a good thing to work out. So I think it really depends on your comfort.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was trying to say too, is that it's all about whether you actually want this service or not. Like, if you are indifferent to his presence and he just kind of inserts himself, don't give him a dime. But
Yeah.
if you actually are like, I feel more safe and secure when he's there, then you may want to give him a little something. But again, he is not doing half the work. He doesn't deserve half the pay.
Yeah. So let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Honey White says, is he like your tattoo pimp? And Sweetie Pot Pie says, this was literally my first thought. Man thinks that he's her tat pimp. Squid Squadge says, tat daddy. Honestly, the guts on this guy. And Own Brother 2559 says, oh my goodness, read her post history. This guy is a real piece of work. Well, that doesn't give me warm fuzzies at all.
Let's say, do not pay this guy.
And YDFPOI 1423 says, no, tell him that this is your income and that he doesn't have to accompany you if he doesn't want to. He could use the time that he accompanies you to get a job. This is a huge red flag. Chicken Fight Your Mom says, yeah, possessive, jealous, insecure, and controlling girl. Why haven't you dumped this man already? I wouldn't give him a penny.
Yeah, well, in OP's post, it kind of is unclear to me whether or not she actually wants the service and whether he's foisted it on her. If he is demanding that he be here, then that is a giant red flag.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for doing the shopping faster than my wife? I'm a 44-year-old male, and I've been married to my wife, a 34-year-old female, for 4 years, and we have a son, a 3-year-old male, and a daughter, 18 months. I now work in tech 4 days from home and go to the office one day while my wife doesn't currently work and is a stay-at-home mom. My work-from-home career only started when the pandemic began, so before that, we got married, and when we were dating and cohabitating, I never did much major grocery shopping, apart from picking small stuff up on the way home, as my wife worked less hours than me and did it instead. When I started working from home, I noticed that my wife would take a very long time to do the weekly shopping. I am talking about a good hour and a half just to buy the weekly groceries. The store's only 5 minutes away, and she usually goes just before lunch, so it's not busy. I think that she's just running into friends from her mom's groups and chatting and losing track of time. She denies this, of course, but every time that she goes out shopping and comes back, she always has some new gossip about what's happening in the neighborhood. To be clear, I'm not upset or angry if she takes a long time to go shopping. It's good for her if she can meet friends while shopping. But she keeps telling me that she takes a long time because she's checking which stuff is on sale, which stuff she can skip for now, which stuff can go to the store, etc. Well, yesterday was the day that my wife usually goes shopping for the week, but I told her that I would handle it. I went and I did the shopping and I came back in half of the time that she normally takes. When she was helping me unpack the groceries, she wasn't too happy with what I bought. I told her that I did it in half the time that she usually does, and that I still can't see why she takes so long to do it. She then started telling me that I did a poor job and I didn't buy what she wanted, and that I was trying to undermine her. I said that I did the shopping, not for her, but for the family. She said that I was a jerk. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk, not the jerk? OP's wife, not part of the family?
Well, exactly. And I'm wondering who does the cooking in this situation? If she has meals planned for the week around the assumption she's getting certain items, and OP came back with entirely different things, that's going to throw her meal planning off.
Yeah.
Yes, OP, you're the jerk. It seems like you just have a bone to pick with her and you couldn't let it go. You keep saying, oh, well, I don't mind. If you don't mind, you wouldn't have gone out of your way to show her, oh, look, I can do this in half the time. All you've shown is that you find it more important to prove that you're right.
How do you go shopping for 45 minutes and come back with the wrong stuff? That's what I want to know.
Did he even have a list or something, or did you just grab random items off the shelf?
It looks like we might need this. We might need that. I just can't imagine doing grocery shopping like that. I think that if you go grocery shopping, you should really bring a list with you. You should set out to buy what you need and make sure that it falls within the plans of the household budget and whatever's planned for the week. And she's doing a valuable service by doing the grocery shopping and doing it well. And for you to complain and say, well, she's just gossiping with friends. If it doesn't matter to you, then why do you have such a bone to pick with this? Why does it matter if she's taking longer or shorter to do the grocery shopping? And she does it in a way that works for her and gets the groceries that she needs and that you need for the week.
Yeah, and so I find your disregard for your wife here very disconcerting, and saying, oh, well, I'm not shopping for you, I'm shopping for the family. Your wife is part of the family, and she's also probably the member of the family who does the cooking. I don't understand why OP did this.
Yeah. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Realistic Bit 6965 says, you're the jerk. Why does it even matter if it takes her an hour and a half? Why does it even matter if she runs into somebody and talks for a minute? This is so odd. Why are you micromanaging her time like this? I take forever because I go down every aisle like I try to get ideas and check out sales. I'll bring my phone and check out prices at different stores. Putting time and effort into picking out the food that you feed your loved ones with is not something to be judged for. And Cheerfully Terrified says, yeah, this is what struck me too. So what if she's taking some time to chat with friends and catch up with them? Why does she have to shop efficiently? Maybe this is a social outlet for her where she talks to other adults and that's okay. And OP replies, that's absolutely fine, yes, but she isn't acknowledging that she's socializing. She says that it is purely shopping. It feels then to me like she is exaggerating. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got a beverage of choice right here, and Amber, she's got a joke.
What do elves learn in school?
Well, I'll tell you what elves learn in school. It depends on the school that the elves are going to. Are we talking about evil elves? Because evil elves go to school to learn horrible things like necromancy. But if we're talking about Santa's elves, then they'll go to school to learn how to build toys. It's a completely different world. It really just depends on what kind of elves are we talking about?
We'll go with Santa's elves.
Oh, okay. So then they go to school to learn how to build snow people that come to life and harass and terrify people.
The alphabet.
The alphabet?
Which, I don't know if you've ever been to Santa's Village, but was one of my favorite things as a kid, is they had the alphabet. They'd have elves with different letters, and you had to punch out each, find all the elves and punch out the letters, and it was a fun little thing.
And I have Earl Grey. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Tuesday, spelled T-W-O. I hope the week is going well for you. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please, have it the opening line to a book.
It is sometimes said that where talent lacks, ego makes up the difference. Jeff was an exemplar of that to the T.
All right, Jeff, your move. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.